here. It's Canberra Festival of Speed 2026. Let's go. I'm not going to put that on the internet. I'm going to get cancelled anyway for something.
I'm putting it on the internet.
How did I get my wife into leaving her alone for a full day with our newborn to drive to Canberra and look at cars? To be honest, I don't even know how I got away with it. However, the Canberra Festival of Speed, a display both on and off track of street cars, supercars, circuit cars and rally cars from all eras, old and new, all in one place. Mario and I left at 5 in the morning so we could collect a part for my second Supra. Remember this one? Yeah, well, now I can continue that, and we may even see it running soon. But back to the Festival of Speed. Each group of cars had their specific allocated parking area, and mine was in the middle of the circuit in what they called import duty. If you want to see some of the photos I took on the day, check out Matt JZ on Facebook or Instagram, but I want to get into the more fun parts of the day, which were the interviews which I had with Neale Bates driving his dad's rally championship winning Celica GT-Four, and Greg Boyle, our driver trainer from Track Day Club days, in his two very different to each other R32 GT-Rs.
This makes about 700 kilowatts at all four.
Oh my god. We have onboard footage of the Celica, but the GoPro's overheated on the GT-R laps, unfortunately. Here with Lewis at Festival of Speed 2026 and his Celica GT-Four, which, as you know, I love so much. Can you tell us a little bit about the car?
Yeah, it's a pretty special car, this one, because it started its life as a gravel rally car. And my dad won a couple of Australian rally championships in it.
Oh wow.
It's also done Target Tasmania.
Bates and Taylor in their Toyota Celica confirmed their pre-event favouritism with a blistering time for the 4-kilometre prologue of 2 minutes and 40 seconds. 13 seconds faster than Mediki and Richards, who recorded the same time.
And then Dad sold it. He ended up buying it back and restored it into tarmac trim, as you can see for today. So it's slightly different to what it used to be. It's now a turbocharged, unrestricted engine, and we just have a bit of fun with it every now and then. So it has lots of power. It has over 300 kilowatts, and it goes very fast.
And is it still a 3S GTE, or is it some modification?
No, it's still a 3S GTE engine. It just comes out of the workshop in special occasions now. It's Dad's pride and joy, that one, and one of our favourite cars in the workshop.
Yeah, of course. I always think of the Castrol Celica when I see this.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic liveries. Very special car.
I noticed the tyres you've got on, they look like slicks. Does that take a minute to warm up before you can actually go harder, or there's something special about them?
So they're a Hoosier slick compound tyre. They're quite a soft compound, so they warm up quite quickly. We obviously don't get a warm up here, so basically after the first 2 corners there's a bit of temperature in them, especially on a day like today. So they're quite a strong tyre, and they switch on quite quickly and give you a nice bit of confidence.
Yeah, and what about the brakes? Do they need warming up as well? Because race brakes usually take a second as well.
Same sort of thing, yeah. The brakes take a bit of warming up, probably more for the brakes than the tyres actually. So the first few corners you take it a little bit easier, make sure everything's warm, and then start having a bit of a push after that.
Yeah. Did you have any close calls while warming up? Have you done this before as well?
I did. I drove this 205 here last year, and it's a very similar track. I try not to have too many close calls because it's Dad's pride and joy, so I don't want to damage it on him or anything, but I just enjoy driving it, and I wouldn't say I go absolutely 100%, maybe 9/10, and just leave a little bit up my sleeve, because as you've seen, the circuit's quite narrow and people have damaged their cars here today, so I don't want to be one of them.
Yeah, well, I love that you're getting it out there. I love to get my Supra out there, so you're doing this for the Celica GT-Four boys, and Toyota everything. I love seeing the Toyotas on the track, because it's all usually about Nissans and everyone else.
I agree.
Not many people get Toyotas to actually show what they can do. So
I agree. Yeah,
glad
we're Toyota through and through, so I'll have to come over and see your Supra tomorrow and check it out. But thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, man. All right,
thank you.
What a team, what a run. Father and son running 2 historic rally Celicas together. And I could be wrong, but I heard Lewis did the fastest time of the event in that 2:05.
The 6 hour we saw Greg last briefly with his WRX, but this time we've got the 2 GT-Rs here. Can you tell us a bit about them? We'll probably start with this one here.
This one is a 1990 R32 GT-R. It was originally owned by Mark Berry and Russell Newman. It was built for doing tarmac rallies like Dutton rallies and stuff like that. The car was then turned into a time attack car. It was then shipped back to Japan and raced at Suzuka back in 2006, I believe.
Yeah.
Ran a 59.6.
Ooh, under a minute.
So under a minute, which was great for their first time. Then they brought it back home. This was the car that started time attack in Australia.
Wow.
So Andrew Hawkins and from High Octane, Ian Baker, they went over there and like I said, they supported Russell and Mark in getting the car there and racing it. It basically started then Super Lap and then Oz Time Attack, or World Time Attack as it is now. I bought it off Russell Newman back in 2018, 19, then basically turned it into a sports sedan, hill climb, just an all-rounder track car.
Seen this car at Bathurst as well.
So I've run Challenge Bathurst, I've run Bathurst with the sports sedans. Won multiple trophies for class wins, owns multiple hill climb records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it did time attack in Japan, did it have any supporting aero, or was it as it was?
Aero. It's got more aero on it now than it did. So it had no front splitter, and which is only a small one anyway, and it didn't have a rear wing on it.
Wow.
So yeah, and that was one of the things that did let them down, is they didn't have much aero.
And how much power does this make?
This makes about 700 kilowatts at all 4.
Oh my God. Okay. That is amazing.
So yeah, it's got a lot of power. RB26, single turbo, sequential 6-speed, AP brakes, original GT-R diffs, axles, all that sort of stuff. Just a good all-round package.
Beautiful. And how does that differ to this car, which I know that the internet and the world actually does know, but what can you tell them?
So this one is the 1993 Bathurst 12-hour car. So it came 4th outright in the 93 Bathurst. Before that, it is an Australian production car, or prototype car.
Yeah.
So it's one of 5 cars used by Nissan Australia to compliance the 100 that they sold here.
Yeah.
So it is Australian compliance. It's got all the Australian updates on it.
Yeah.
So
and this is why we have a radio and air conditioning and speakers.
That's exactly right.
It is
so
a
yes,
street car with a cage, so to speak.
So then it was basically Wheels magazine and Car magazine cover car of the year, all that sort of stuff. It was black back then.
Oh, okay.
92, it was the Bathurst pace car.
Yeah.
So the year that the pack of arseholes Jim Richards raced, it was a car that probably did more laps than all the other cars.
I will put that clip in.
I thought Australian race fans had a lot more to go than this. This is bloody disgraceful. I'll keep racing, but I tell you what, this is going to remain with me for a long time. You're a pack of arseholes.
the black GT-R.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it was bought by Falcon in after Bathurst, painted the Falcon colours.
Yeah.
And then raced at the 93 Bathurst.
Wow.
It was in Falcon's hands till early 2000. Then it was sold to private ownership, and then I acquired it.
Yeah.
And now we use it in historic racing. We run with heritage touring cars, Group A, Group C.
Yeah.
We bring it to events like this. Muscle Car Masters, all those sort of events where the older cars come out and race.
Yeah.
We try and get invites to that and run with them.
I imagine it has less power than this one?
Correct. This one runs about 350 kilowatts.
Yep.
It's standard RB26, twin turbo, still runs an airbox, full interior as you said, so it's got seats, carpet, whole lot, radio, air conditioning, everything else. Basically as it would have run back in the day for a production car.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you get them out as well. There are so many people at this event that are bringing historic cars out and actually putting them through their paces, not leaving them parked. And I love that.
Yes, that's it. And that's the use of have. Why have them if you're not going to use them and show them off and whatever else? And that's why we're here.
And we have watched this car go sideways out there.
Yes, well.
Very close to a wall.
Yes.
And I've even just watched you go through there, get a bit squirmy on your way up.
It's all right when I'm driving it. When someone else drives it, I get a bit worried too.
Yeah,
but
I feel the same.
It's what it is.
Thanks for that.
No worries.
And
Thank you.
I'll see you at the next track event.
No problem,
We are
definitely.
always at the same events
We
together.
are. Thanks,
somewhere.
mate.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Okay, so well, today's been a big day. We have had a couple of crashes. There's been a McLaren in a wall. There's been that little funny car looking thing, that orange things hit the wall. We have had V8 supercars, drift cars, just cars bursting, eardrums and everything going crazy. It's been an awesome day. It's been a very hot day. I am very red. I did not take sunscreen that Mario offered, and that has hurt me. But we're going to deal with that later. I'm very sweaty and over it. Very ready to go home. Shame we're not staying the second day, but hey, we had a whole bunch of fun today.